were nobody then.
Of course, the guys are cute.
They knew they were probably going to the biggest opportunity of their life. These boys, you know, should be and want to be respected as actual, for real artists.
Nick seems to be the heartthrob of the group.
We've come this far. How far can we go?
They're so hardworking and they started so young. There's nowhere to go for them but up.
We're trying to make music for everybody to listen to.
Hi, this is Hildy on XL 106.7 in Orlando, Florida, home of the Backstreet Boys.
We played their first song before anybody else did, and we will continue to play them because we think they're fabulous.
There's an addition of several hundred boys, and resumes were handed in, and Lou Pearlman and Gene Tansey selected 5 boys they thought had the most talent out of a group of people, and that's how it started. Initially, it was Nick, Howie, AJ, Kevin, and Brian came in later. Airship International had a sort of like a hangar warehouse out in Kissimmee where they would store the gondolas for the blimps, and they made space for them to rehearse. It was fun. It was cool. It was interesting. And that evolved into them getting better at focusing on their vocal parts and getting their lines down, and that's just the beginning stages of what it would be like to be in a recording studio. SeaWorld was something that I had contacted SeaWorld about and asked if they could participate. They wanted to hear and see a lot of the group before they made a decision. At that time we were in transit. We had dropped a member and we had to pick up a member. Brian had come down and on Kevin's request, as because he was his cousin, and auditioned actually in the SeaWorld stands. In the stand, we were waiting to audition. We asked Brian to sing a cappella. But there's a show that's held there on the water, and there's a stage that floats, and he were in the stands, and we had him sitting there, and he said, "Yeah, you're fine, you're in."
They were very, very young, so they couldn't really find a niche in a bar. It wasn't appropriate for them to really hang out in bars and sing when they were that age, especially Nick. He was probably 14 at the time.
As far as getting bookings, it was a matter of just looking for opportunities that they could do public appearances. They were way too young to go into bars for the liquor license. And it was just a matter of looking in the paper and knowing people that were events that they could be involved in that we could get exposure. And then we looked around and said, "Would you like us here?" Sure. It's gratis. And in gratis performance with a glimpse of what the group could do. Here they are, ready to go to New York. The boys. Oh, that's a great shot. Nikki? Here the boys, getting ready to go to New York for the William Moore's debut. We were nobody then, and they knew they were probably going to the biggest opportunity of their life. Hey, we're going to New York. We're going to have some pizza and some bagels. Have some fun. We're going to New York. Are you? He's one with Howie. We're ready. You ready? Get ready. Get ready? Here we come. I'm going to die in this plane. Where you going?
Hey, Scott, New York.
All right. And you? The Big Apple. Big Apple. Lou? We have a little Elvis Lou. And Lou's a giver. He loves to do things. I mean, he's a generous, loving man. He really is.
Okay, Lou.
We're having a family gathering. He treated these children like his kids. Why not adopt 5 boys and make them his children? So we're at the airport now. And oh, yeah. Hey, good. Feel good, man. You ready? We're headed, yeah. All right.
What are you picking your nose? I'm not picking my nose.
Quit picking your finger.
That's no problem. I'm doing it.
Picking more your nose, man. Sam? What? Sam? A little annoyed, but he's okay. Better get better by tomorrow. I just have to say that. Lou was getting all the tickets taken care of, and there he's at the counter. Lou was great about doing that. You guys ready? Got the ticket? Woo! No one knew what New York was really going to be like. It was a very exciting point. This was the breaking point of their career. Howie, oh, hey. Nick, it's your shoes, Nick. Hey, I beat you. You filled me up with a little pain. It's good. All right. Mickey's belt was off. Very good? Yeah. Very good. Lou named him out of the fact that it would be something that went along with how rap came along. That it was a street thing. It was something that a variety of cultures could identify with. Big Apple, you come.
Hi, Mom.
Where are you? I gotta get pulled out. What's up? How you feeling now? Oh, much better. Better in here? Better. Cool. Nicky's playing with something. Okay. By himself. Greatest city in the world, they say. Yeah, probably miss it. I want to see some eggs. Fire it up. Let's go home. Big Apple, we're here. There's Lou. We're here? Are we here? We're here. We're here. We're here, going. We're here. We'll take a chicken bally, guys. What do you think? What do you think?
This is all mine, I hope you know. Lifestyles with the rich and Nick.
You got the credit card? Yes, I'll put it on the tab. Yeah. Good idea.
Actually, this is all my girlfriend.
I'm going to get a wedding ring in here somewhere. Are you going to marry that woman?
I was only kidding. I don't have a girlfriend. All you hear is that there, Nick, you're my girlfriend.
Going into our room. We're 1265 in the plaza. Right. Well, We're in the place.
This is it.
All right. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Hey, look. I don't like this jacket, though. You don't like the cut of the jacket? You don't like it? Yeah. But the blue jacket on, brother.
Is that a concession?
This is again for him.
I mean, he works for himself and
The back, they slide back like,
Too tight?
no, this I can use it. Oh. Yeah, this
where's no, he's eating on the top floor.
color. This is silk.
Yes.
Silk, same color.
Collateral and fabric.
This is a fabric.
That's cool.
Okay. Let me see.
The only one that'll
Stand in
fit
front
it,
here,
that's all.
Kevin. Look.
How you get a record deal is often who you know and who will listen. I knew a lot of labels at that time, but the label that was most interested came from an idea that I had. I had seen Star Search in Orlando, and I said, and I had watched many weeks of the competition, and I thought to myself, this would be something that the group could do and be a winner. And we went to Star Search and auditioned for Sam Little. Sam was quite impressed, to say the least, and thought that we would be excellent for the show. The group declined the show because they were afraid psychologically if they had lost for any reason, that it might hurt their career. So they declined on doing that. In the meantime, Sam, after hearing the group audition, decided that he might have a few labels that would be interested in him, and one was Jive Records.
I started getting just a flickering of calls from mainly girls saying, hey, the Backstreet Boys, why don't you play any of their music? They're great. They're from here. And I said, I'm sorry, they're not on the radio yet, but I'll look into it. And then our boss gave the record to our nighttime DJ, Kid Cruz, who first played them, and he played it one night on a nighttime battle where he pits one song against another. They're both brand new songs. As soon as he did that, the phones blew up. All day long they were calling me and asking, what was that song last night? Adults, men, everybody. And when I saw that response, I said, I got to check this out. So I grabbed it out of his box and listened to it and loved it. It was We Got It Going On. And I threw that on my request lunch that week, and it did fabulously well, and the calls were great. So we kept that going and played it for a while, thinking it's going to blow up all over the country, it's going to be great, it's going to be huge, but it didn't take off.
When we first released We Got It Going On, it was really alternative, like Hootie and the Blowfish, the kind of grunge sound was really happening still, and rap was really strong, and pop music, I don't think, America was really ready for a group like us. That's why we took advantage of the time over in Europe and internationally.
I just ran into an old friend into a club, and he told me about this new group called the Backstreet Boys.
By chance, my friend Fred called me up and asked me if I'd be interested.
I've never heard of this group.
I wasn't sure of it at the time because I'd never heard of these guys before. I mean, this was in America 2 years ago.
And I told him I was interested.
And I was a little bit, skeptical on what it was going to be. And the band had rehearsed, and the music was, cool. I liked it. It was what I do. Pop, R&B stuff, And then the boys came in, and to sound check their mics, they just started singing this a cappella piece, and that's where I looked at it and knew that they were for real. And I was like, all right, this will be cool. This will be fun. These guys, they're singers. So had they not been, had it been some kind of big, fake track act thing or something like that, I may have had a problem with the integrity of what I was doing, but they're real artists, they sing. weren't really doing anything over here. Europe was the scene.
I think the market just chose us. It wasn't really, we didn't really have it happen particularly for a reason. We've got it going on in the fall, actually the winter of 1995, which is, 2 years ago. At the same time, we released it all over the world internationally, and it just really exploded. It took off. So we had to go by popular demand to where the success was at the time.
The European market was more open and more hungry for new talent.
There was a big market in Europe, UK, Germany, places like that, for boy bands. There's a big vacuum because Take That kind of had peaked and were in the process of splitting up. And there was just a market for a new act who were in the same line but subtly different with a more kind of hip-hop feel.
There's obviously a glamour element, and the fact that these are 5 American boys probably helped them break Britain before they actually break their home territory.
The European market is, from what I've seen being over there, these people they're really, dedicated to music, and to live shows. I mean, it seems to me when we're over there touring, it's like almost every weekend there's some kind of, festival show with 8 bands, playing in town, that week, and then 2 weeks later there's 8 more bands coming in and doing it. And somehow, every little town, 30,000, 40,000 people show up to do this. It's a big market for, these live shows, and the boys put on a great live show.
Sweden has become kind of a second home for you. You don't want to live here.
Sweden is very beautiful, first of all. Personally, this is my own personal point of view. It's very clean. It's got snow here, and it's the right kind of weather. The people are very nice. The girls are beautiful. Definitely come for vacation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bring the whole family. And recording. Very, how can I say, it was very educational, very educational, to tone our craft. Like at the time, I was in school, like when we first came over there, and I was reading my history books, and I'm over in the place where I'm reading in my book, so it was very cool.
Okay, just stay with us and then we'll go around. Just to the front, actually, just straight down to the bottom here. Over to your left. Right, guys. All to this one, please. Guys, just squeeze in a little bit more. Guys, over here. And then right to the front. Just right up front here. Guys, over here. That's Torres for you. Up here again. Okay. Guys. Right here, just over here, please. Just to the front. Over here, please. And over here, please.
I mean, it's a major event for us to all do something together. I mean, there are times we do it. We, may go go-karting or go bowling or, something like that. But that just, sometimes that becomes more than it's even worth because it's just, all of a sudden now you've got 200, 300 fans showed up at this place where you were just going trying to, take it easy and have some fun.
It's very glamorous to be in a band and make money and be chauffeured around in limousines. On the downside, it's very difficult to have a normal social life.
You can never be private, you can never be alone. Is that a problem for you?
It's just one of those sacrifices you just have to be willing to make if you're going to be in this business. But it's not really that bad. We don't really have that much time taken away from us. I mean, when we're not working, we get a chance to go out as a group or as friends and just go out and have a good time. Whether it be a club or like a restaurant, we have our security make sure everything's cool.
When you came here, I mean, nobody knew that you were coming, so I guess there weren't that many people at the airport?
No, we snuck in town, but once we got here, it wasn't long until everybody knew we were here. Word travels fast.
I'm pretty impressed, and they're actually just taking it pretty well.
First day that we got here, there was like 2 or 3 fans, and I guess they tell their friends tell their friends, and that was like 50 to 60 girls just, following us in packs. And
there are hotels that we stay at that they're closing off, 2 city blocks because of, the fans being out in the middle of the streets and stuff like that. So
in the United States, it's not as crazy as it is here. Here, it's a little more difficult for us to go out without being recognized.
It's probably a novelty that wears off pretty quick.
I think there's a good side and a bad side. There's a lot of good and a lot of attention that they get.
A lot of flowers, a lot of cars, a lot of fan mail and stuff.
Just this past summer, we had a school supply drive. They just came by to drop off some school supplies and go about their way. There were a crowd of people there just to drop off school supplies, but soon before they came, we hinted that they might be there, but we never said their name for fear that they had blown up so big it would be out of control. But I guess they picked up the hint because about 20 minutes before they got there, 30 minutes, people started to line up these young girls. They were just braces for all the eyes could see, and they were pushing and shoving, trying to get so close to the ropes we had set up, and they were just flimsy ropes. We were just holding them, and they were pushing and shoving and screaming in our ears, and all of us, all the DJs that were there, were just holding our ears because they hurt so bad from these girls screaming. Oh my God, oh my God!
What do you think about all those girls?
All of us were very excited. There's lots of them on this earth.
Screaming. They are hysteric. Can you see the girls over there?
Oh, and I think it's good.
We're still looking for the Swedish bikini team, but we haven't found them yet,
I never got that carried away where I like hung out in front of hotels or anything like that.
All the fans know that, the Backstreet Boys, there's ladies around us, but we don't have no girlfriends, so they don't have to worry,
Yeah, we're always looking. We try to date whenever we can. I mean, of course, we're just on the road constantly. Speaking for myself, I don't currently have a girlfriend. So.
Being in this business, us trying to find somebody is a little bit harder now because, we're a little bit selective because we're always trying to find the right